My name is Neal, and I am a retired wildlife biologist with the U.S. Forest Service. Well, I started out a long time ago when I was a kid just enjoying being outdoors. I've spent all my professional career working with birds, and so I'm interested in how climate change is impacting birds in northwest Arkansas primarily. What climate change is doing is it's raising the temperatures. So some of that's real dramatic, like when you see these pictures from up north, way up north in the Arctic, you know, the icebergs are collapsing and the polar bears are having a lot of difficulty. And you don't see that kind of dramatic thing here. But you measure the temperatures and you see this temperature. If you compare the average temperatures right now to the average temperatures 50 years ago, there's a real difference. So in terms of birds, what we see is that birds that were doing really well immediately south of the Ozarks, say in the Arkansas River Valley or in the Ouachita Mountains, or say all the way south down to Texas, birds that were mostly confined to those areas are moving north because the climate here now is more like what the climate was like there before these changes were occurring. Say the temperature's gone up a few degrees here, well, that may be ecologically just enough to provide for the food and other needs of a bird like fish crow, like more of its prey may be living here now than in the past. And the vegetation may be a little different than it was, and that may be suitable. And there really is quite a list of birds. If you go through the birds that we find on the Christmas bird count, and that count's held in December, and that includes Lake Fayetteville where we are, there's just a whole list of birds that we now find on that Christmas count that we either never found in the past or we find them more frequently now than we did in the past. And most of these birds are birds that in the past, in December, would have been south of here. But now that our Decembers are a little warmer, some of these birds are able to stay here all winter. If you have climate change and we have general warming, then birds that benefit from that warming will be able to expand their ranges, and that's happening. We have birds that are now appearing in northwest Arkansas that were never here in the past. A recent example, black-bellied whistling duck, a common duck way south, like we're talking about South Texas here. And they've slowly been expanding their range to the north. Birds that used to winter here, whose most of their range is further north, are not wintering here anymore. In other words, as it gets warmer here, it's warmer further north, and those birds stay up there. A good example is we used to have lots of a bird called tree sparrows. It's an interesting little bird, comes up out of the north, and we used to get them here regularly in winter. By the middle of winter, we'd see tree sparrows. Well, there's a steady decline in the number of tree sparrows we see, and that's consistent.